Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quoth Lewis Bright Raven Booktober 2020 Day 14. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 28-year veteran of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games as a writer, illustrator, and editor. And we started running a little bit late. Should have been run earlier than yesterday. We're already actually in day 15, but just has not been a good week, unfortunately. I'm not going to get into the details too much. Just family. Nobody else in the household is healthy, and it's causing problems for my schedule. That's all. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into things. We got questions today. Our first question really isn't a question. I was having a conversation with a fellow professional blonde, the colorist, last night, and I was talking about some of the changes that we're going to be making in the show in the future. And we'll get back to this more on Thursday night's show, the regular weekly show. But he said, you should do more variety of shows. Don't get rid of your reviews. Just make them one day and then do live draw another day and guest creators another day. Maybe also start covering wrestling like you were starting to do last year. This is not a bad idea, any of it. But I really kind of need some feedback from viewers as to what they really want to see in moving forward with the channel. From what I am hearing, reviews just aren't what people really want to watch that much. I guess they just want to see live draw or interviews mostly, but do people want me to cover the wrestling? I'm not so sure. Do people want me to, what is it that people really want to see so that I can get some actual regular subscribers and viewers on the channel for a change? I'd like to know. So if you guys can give me some feedback on that, go ahead and email me at the address below, quothravenlbr72@gmail.com. Say something in chat, say something on Facebook, just let me know, okay? Our next question is, how fast do you read? From Angela in South Carolina. There it is. I guess it depends on what it is. Not fast enough for Booktober, apparently. I don't know. You figure today's reviews were the equivalent of 30 comics in one day. So that's about my speed, I guess, maybe a little bit faster than that in comics. And, then there's other reading and other things I do, and you figure I'm reading a lot of stuff on the internet as well. So I read fairly fast, I guess. I never really timed myself to figure out words per minute or anything like that. So that's all the questions for the day. If you have questions, you can email them to quothravenlbr72@gmail.com. Subject QTR questions. Please indicate whether or not you want your name and locale read on air. And that takes care of that. So let's go ahead and go straight to our reviews for the day. We got 3 books today. We're going to start with Guardians of the Galaxy, Mother Entropy, trade paperback, $15.99. Publisher is Marvel Comics. The writer was Jim Starlin. Artists are Alan Davis penciling and Mark Farmer inking, with colorist Matt Yackey. Genre is science fiction superhero, and it was released in 2017. And what it's about is the Guardians of the Galaxy owe a ton of debt to just about everyone in nowhere. So the local constabulary, police, whatever you want to call them, give them a job to do. Escort a priest and a precious stone back to his home world. But nothing is ever that easy, is it? Soon our intrepid adventurers run afoul of Pip the Troll and the mysterious Mother Entropy, who has crossed over from one plane of existence into ours and intends to consume the entirety of our existence. Can the Guardians find a way to stop Entropy from consuming the entirety of existence as we know it? recommended for ages 13 and up, and I gave it a 3.5-star rating. It's not Jim Starlin's best story by any means. Alan Davis is who really carries most of the load in this series with his usual high-quality artwork, paired with his regular collaborator, Mark Farmer. I didn't care for the Groot solution. It's basically how they defeat the enemy. If Mother Entropy had met his race before and knew that he couldn't be consumed and controlled, then clearly he would need to be the first one eliminated, as he posed the largest threat to her. But I guess there had to be some way to defeat her, so I guess she just didn't think about it. Anyway, it's a slightly above average comic for these modern times. A lot of comics in modern from Marvel and DC are just not very good. So this is a above average comic, I guess. So I gave it a 3.5. This is some of the artwork. And, again, like I said, this is Alan Davis. I mean, one of the best artists around. There's, the Playboy bunny waitress with the rabbit face and ears is a really cool touch. The character on the left with I don't know if you guys can see more. I've got the angles here, but the far left, the blue-skinned, feminine-looking character on the far left of the page is Gatecrasher from I can't remember the name of the group that they call themselves. I think it's TechNet or something like that. They used to be enemies of Excalibur, and it's kind of cute to see those characters because they were someone that Alan Davis used a lot in Excalibur back in the 80s and early 90s. So it was kind of cute to see them in the background. There's a few other nice nods to other characters as well in the background that I just thought were kind of cool. I enjoyed that all right. What's going on with Drax is he's giving blood samples, but that's because his blood apparently gives other people really weird drunk hallucinations and stuff. So he's like, yeah, take some more. He's getting paid to give him his blood so other people can get drunk on his blood. It's kind of weird, but okay. Here's where I meet Pip the Troll. And this is when Mother Entropy enters, and she's basically making them compete to decide who's going to host her essence in this world, so that they can so her essence can start consuming the galaxy. And they go through different things, and eventually Pip is the one that gets forced into it, but it's kind of weird. It's a weird story with that, but it's okay. And then here's the scene where Groot kind of like defeats her. He goes underground, his roots go up through them, and then splits the entropy being from the actual host and grows through them and does. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it made sense in the context of what they were doing, but at the same time, I was just like, if she's already faced this race before and knows that they can't be controlled, like I said, that he should have been completely just wiped out and destroyed so that nothing could stop her. But it is what it is. Our next book is Thor's #1 from Marvel. Writer Jason Aaron. Artists are Chris Sprouse and Carl Story, with colorist Marte Garcia. Superhero mystery is the genre, and it was released in 2015. And what it's about: in the Doom world, battle world of the Secret Wars, where all the other planes of existence in the Marvel Universe were destroyed save one, and now it's like a battle world controlled by Doctor Doom. All the Thors that are left are basically the police of the area. A mysterious serial killing is going on. 5 women have been killed, and the Thors, Thorleaf, which is, I guess, is the ultimate version of Thor, and Beta Ray Thor, or Beta Ray Bill, either way you want to call him, need to find the culprit of these grisly murders with the help of the Thor Corps. The twist is all 5 women are different versions of the same woman. Jane Foster would be Thor. And as you know, right there's on the cover is the Jane Foster Thor. So it's kind of weird. I have to give Jason Aaron his due. The story idea was very well done. Um, it was different. It was like, Thor's doing um, police procedural mystery story, not something you would necessarily expect to see. So that was interesting and different. The artwork by Sprouse and Story is pretty decent, solid artwork. It was actually, interesting enough that I might even go try to find the rest of the story. This is only the first issue, and I only got it for the blank covers to do illustrations on. I hadn't actually read it before, so maybe I'll go and look up the rest of that story. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I recommend it for ages 13 and up. Here is where they find one of the corpses that's there. As you can see, it's Beta Ray Bill Thor and the Thor Leaf and the Destroyer as a Thor, Groot as a Thor, Storm Thor back in background there. Pretty interesting stuff going on there. And then they battle Beta Ray Thor and Thor Leaf battle cosmic ghost riders, which was actually kind of interesting looking. I don't know why they were doing that specifically. It was just like a distraction for them. It really had nothing to do with the case, but they were like, they're coming to attack us, and we'll go ahead and smash them up. And they took some of the survivor members of those to the back to the precinct, I guess you could say. And they're like, nope, we still haven't got a clue as to what's going on. Well, you better figure it out. And there's some other cute moments in that comic, like Thor Frog Throg is like the forensic specialist in the coroner's lab, hopping around the coroner's lab and stuff, and having a conversation with Thorleaf. So it is an interesting book anyway. Our last book for the day is the EC Archives Vault of Horror Volume 1. It's $49.95, and the publisher is Russ Cochran / Gemstone Publishing. The writers are Bill Gaines for the plots and Al Feldstein, who also co-plots and scripts the stories. Artists are Johnny Craig, Wally Wood and Harry Harrison, Harvey Kurtzman, Al Feldstein, Graham Ingalls, Jules Pfeiffer with Harry Harrison, Jack Kamen and Jack Davis. All of it's colored by Marie Severin originally, and the genre is horror. It was released in 2007, and the ISBN number is 978-1-888-472-73-8. What it's about is it collects the first 6 issues of Vault of Horror, and collecting 24 stories by the best horror comics illustrators of the 1950s and arguably in all of comics history. I recommend it for ages 13 and up, and there are 5-star rating. Didn't have time to try and scan this big honking book here. But this is a library copy I got. I don't think that the computer coloring in here, even they try to hold true to Marie Severin's work, but it is computer coloring on a glossy stock compared to the traditional coloring and newsprint that it was originally produced on. But this is Johnny Craig's first cover for Tales of Horror, or Vault of Horror, rather. And it's a human on a stretch rack, and they don't know it's a human, supposedly, and he's going to turn the thing on and, like, pull him apart. They think it's a wax statue type thing. And I'm kind of wondering, why he can't make enough noise to let people know that he's there, human and alive, but, I don't know. again, Johnny Craig. And there's a problem going on here where the guy's going to expose him for criminal activity. He throws a glass of wax in his face, and he faints from the pain of hot wax and the glass in his face and stuff like that. And well, now that he's fainted, I have to kill him because I can't let him know. I can't let people know what's going on. And they find other things going on where they realize that the statues are actually the corpses. And that gets him caught. Stuff like that. Pretty kind of cool stuff in here. The werewolf legend, another art style. And again, this is the 50s style artist. So, a lot of people won't necessarily, a lot of younger people might not appreciate it, but they really should, because a lot of these artists influenced people like Murray Wrightson and Kyle Holtz and I'm trying to think of his name, Kelly Jones, some of the more modern style artists like that. Another part of the story. I love some of the shading they do, some of the heavy black inks for drapery and clothing, shadows, just really well done. Again, I give this 5 out of 5 stars. There's several volumes of this. I'm not exactly sure how many there are, but quite a few. You might want to check with online for Gemstone Publishing for any of that stuff. And I'm kind of surprised that given the success of Tales from the Crypt when they did the HBO TV show years ago, decades ago now, I guess, that they never adapted these stories and had their own series. But apparently they didn't, or maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me a little bit more about that. But it seems to me like Tales from the Crypt was Tales from the Crypt, and this is a different brand, so they didn't use these stories. It would have been interesting if they did. But anyway, that is our reviews for tonight. We have for tomorrow, or later today actually, around 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll be reviewing these 4 books. True Believers #1, Amazing Adventures in Humans and Black Widow. I'm not sure exactly which one that reprint is for. Let me check real quick. That will be reprinting Amazing Adventures 1970 #1 and 2. And the True Believers #1, Black Widow and Spider-Man is a reprint of Amazing Spider-Man #86. And we'll also be looking at Villainous from Mad Cave Studios and We Live from Aftershock. Both of those are #1 issues. That, again, will be at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time later today. Now, that having been said, if you want to reach me before then, you can reach me on Facebook at lewis.brightraven, at deviantart.com/brightraven, on YouTube at Quoth Raven Lewis Brightraven, at Gmail at QuothRavenLBR72 at gmail.com, and on Yahoo at lewisbrightraven at yahoo.com. The regular podcast will be on tonight, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time, however you prefer to say it. We will see you again at 1 p.m. and at 9 p.m. later. Tonight's episode, the 9 p.m. episode, will be a discussion, continuance of last week's show. Last week we talked about my childhood and my youth and what got me into comics up through about high school. We're going to go into the college years and what led me into professional comics and role-playing game artwork and stuff like that, and how that came about. Okay, so that's what we'll talk about tonight, and we'll see you then. All right, have a good day.